Alright guys, welcome back to the Regal Gentleman YouTube channel at the Regal Gentleman Studios. Today we've got Irzam in the chair. How are you, man?
Very good.
You good? Now is this a lockdown haircut or the first lockdown?
Yeah, before the first lockdown, I started growing it back in September 2019.
Oh wow.
So I thought lockdown would be a good opportunity because I'm not seeing anyone, but it's just gone a bit out of control now and then.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sounds good, man. So have you had a cut at all since 2019?
This time last year.
So oh, okay.
Since then, it's just been getting out of control.
Right, okay.
Quite dry, quite long, and just to get some shape back into it now.
Does look like it's got a little bit of frizz to it, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, man. So have you got any ideas in mind? Have you got anything you want to show me?
A picture that I'll show you.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of like the Dev Patel look, where it's a bit smart.
Yeah,
a bit relaxed.
Yeah.
You want kind of like 2 clean lines or anything like that.
Yeah, cool.
Just a little bit longer at the top.
Yeah.
And keep some length on the sides as well.
Cool.
I've got a picture where it was like this time last year.
Oh God!
Wow. Be a little bit longer than that. It's gotten the longer it's gone, it's gotten a lot curlier.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Keep the waves back.
So would you prefer it like Dev's or more like that?
I think a little bit longer than this, so maybe something in between these two.
Okay, yeah.
Where it's a bit more longer.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
As well.
In your other photo, that looks quite smart, and the reasons are because of the sideburns and it's off the ear a little bit as well. Yeah. So anything on the ear for a guy just generally looks untidy. I mean, I think it looks great, but to the professional eye, for some reason, they think it's untidy. So I think Dev's looks great. Like, I mean, if you throw a suit on and you put a bit of like maybe a slightly like a paste or something in your hair, you have a little bit, like you can see you've made an effort basically. In between Dev's and your own is quite hard because you haven't got the same hair type. So trying to get something in between, we'd have to come to some sort of like common ground of what we're going to give up and what we're going to leave. All right. So in terms of yours, your hair texture is a lot kind of tighter than what Dev's is. You know what I mean? Dev's is a little bit more, just a bit looser, I think, in terms of like the wave, you know? Yours looks a little bit thicker than that when you go shorter than what his is. And yours was quite tidy around the sideburns where his was quite messy, you know what I mean? So what would you like to keep and what would you like to let go? Would you like to leave it on the ear a little bit so it's a little bit looser or?
Go for a bit more of the smart look and a bit neater around there, but just get the length like Dev's got.
Okay.
Whereas mine was a bit shorter back then.
Yeah.
Longer, but maybe a bit neater.
But a bit neater on the sideburns and things like that. Okay, yeah, cool, no worries. So we're gonna be looking at probably losing about, I reckon about half the length is what you're looking at really. But it will change. I mean, you can already see when you pull the hair back, you know, the frizz goes, you know, as soon as you put some sort of stretch on it, if you leave the hair to fall on its own, it's very wiry. But as soon as you pull it, it does go quite smooth. So I can imagine when it is shorter, you will get something quite cool out of that. Especially if you had a little bit of paste in there or something like that. Like a sort of a more shiny product in there would look wicked, I think personally. All right, man. Well, let's give it a shampoo and condition and get it started, yeah? Cool, man. Thanks. Right, guys. So I've just finished shampooing and conditioning Irzam's hair. Now, I'm looking at this texture. Now it's all wet. And as you can see, it is totally different. Have you noticed that about your hair? Have you noticed the difference in texture?
That's it, no, especially as I've grown it.
Yeah.
When it was short, when I used to have the short back inside, it was really nice and straight. We had no idea that it was going to be this wavy as it got longer.
Wow.
The longer it's gone, the more curlier it's gone. So I think in that mid part.
The mid part, is that what you like? Yeah, totally. It's, do you know what? I've said this, I mean, me and Lee have had this conversation as well before, is during lockdown when my hair was longer, the longest point it's ever been for many years, I started getting like a wave in my hair. Now I never thought in a million years my hair is so straight that I would be able to almost add wave to it. And I thought to myself, if I just put a diffuser on this and maybe enhanced it with a curl balm or something like that, I reckon I could have probably got a little bit of an S curl in there, which couldn't have said that for you. I honestly couldn't have said that ever, like I'd ever get to that point. I think the texture though is just, I think when you see the difference when your hair's wet to when it's dry, it's fascinating, isn't it, how different natural hair can be, you know? Dev's hair was kind of sitting just over the ear. Now I'm thinking if we took it to maybe a similar length, but we tied the sideburns up, made it a bit neater, I think it'd be quite a nice length. All right, so I think we still have the element where you push it over the ear more than it's sitting on the ear. I think it's down to styling more than anything else, okay? I'm just gonna cut this across the temple because I don't want to make it like longer at this point. I want this to fall quite naturally back. Not looking to try and leave too much length at the temple. Now remember, just take into account when you are working with this type of texture hair, a bit of wave or a bit of curling, it will shrink when it dries. So if you are thinking of taking it to the top of the ear, cut it to the middle of the ear like that, because then that way it will shrink up, okay? I've got to say, that's a really good picture of Dev Patel, that. His hair looks great in that picture. He's always had quite nice hair though, hasn't he, really?
He's had it a lot longer in like one of his movies, Line.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But in that look, it's kind of a bit smarter. Got that balance between that smart look and more that relaxed look.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the balance I'm looking for as well.
As you can see, I'm just working palm to palm, straight down. If you look at the difference in the texture already, it's like you can really see the difference. Like the frizz is going. It's got that loose little bit of wave in it now. So I can start to see that kind of Dev Patel kind of image coming through. Nice. Now I think it's a good reason for you to keep that little bit of hair hanging over the neckline and the ears, because I've just noticed your neckline, especially when you lift it up, it's hard when it's long. You know, I know we're not going really short, so you don't really need to take too much into account. But if you were to go really short in your neckline, because it grows literally up and over into like a nape whale and everything, anything too short in your neckline would look really messy. So I think keeping it hanging over, and I can tidy up your neckline the way it is then as well, that will actually make it look tidier for you, more than having it tapered or something, because it'll look really patchy, okay? Still following my guide from the previous section. Bring it in. There we go, there's my guide. But I think you've probably got it into your head, it's thin because of it's long, you know what I mean? And because of the texture of how it's gone when it's long, it does feel fine. But it won't be when we've cut it. The difference in it in a sec, you know, when we're finished, you'll really, really see the difference.
I think that picture I showed you last year, it kind of looks quite dense and quite thick.
Yeah, I know.
It looks so wiry and thin.
That's just because of the length. Honestly, it really is. It really is just the length. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the videos on our channel, but there's a guy I did called Jez, and he had a big, big beard, and he had very fine hair on top, and I think I'd done a skin fade for him. Now his hair, did you see the difference at the end when we just cut it a bit shorter? Because it is thicker towards the root at the ends. So the shorter it goes on some people, the thicker it actually feels, and you've got that really fine flyaway hair. With yours again, because we're going quite close to well, obviously we're not going close to the root, but we're going a lot shorter. The thickness here compared to the ends, you can feel it. If you just run your fingers up like if you run your finger from here to the end, if you ever go with that from the very bottom here of the root, right up to the end, that's it, pull it right up towards my fingers. And you feel the difference how thin it gets when it gets longer. It feels like two different types of hair, doesn't it? So I was all right, because when I was feeling through your hair, when we, you know, as I was trying to check the style and sort of have a little look at what we could do, they're the things that I feel for. You know, I go down to the root and feel how thick it feels, and then, you know, if you show me a picture, or if you have an idea in mind, I can be like, yeah, that's going to work, or actually, no, man, I wouldn't do that, you know. Just following that. There we go. Now I'm going to start cutting into the hairline, the perimeter now. Now it's dried up a little bit. Kind of kicks up like that. I want that to be nice and short though, because again we're going for that smarter image. I'm going to dry this off a little bit now. Start from this side, I'm going to use a vent brush. I want to create that nice softer wave. I'm just going to texturize these little bits now. I'm just point cutting into the top bits there. Just to allow it to break it up a little bit. So just by doing that, it really does give that smarter effect. You know, when you actually style your hair, and you push it back and you see the sideburns nice and tidy, that's what gives that effect. I'm just gonna do your neckline for you now as well. I'm not cutting into it too much because I don't want that to grow back too much. I'm just working on this bit down here. There we go. Now, I'm going to cut the top now. So the same kind of length as well as the pictures of Dev and whatnot, yeah?
Yeah,
cool.
A little bit of volume at the top.
Yeah, cool, man. And it looks to me on the picture like the top is a tiny bit longer than everywhere else. So we can obviously do that. But I want to connect in the top to the sides as well to have that more balanced haircut. So I'm working horizontally and just above the round of the head. I'm just going to connect this. I'm just, as you can see, slightly dropping it down. There we go. Another section again. Just before the centre now. Now usually I'd separate the fringe, but I'm not going to on this one because I want it to be a more balanced finish. If I'm looking at the picture I've got of Dev's, it looks as though it's kind of all one length almost. So I want to kind of follow the same sort of finish as that as well. So I'm not going to disconnect the fringe. I'm going to balance the fringe in. Before the centre now. And the guide underneath coming through. And we start in the middle because that way you can match up either side then as well. There we go. The tension I'm pulling on this as well, it isn't too tight. It's just enough that I can grip the hair between my fingers. That's looking like that, similar to that photo. There we go. One section past the centre. Right, one more section before the centre. Now you can see the guy, can you see that just coming through? That's what I can see. I don't know if you can see it on camera. You can just see it coming through there. Dropping it down just to catch the guide underneath because I'm looking to maintain the length through the top. Now, last section just past the centre. And then we'll just pick it up through the top. And there'll be a nice little point through there. And then we remove whatever we want. So I'm thinking a tiny, tiny bit more, about that much. We'll balance. Make sure I'm getting all the length. Now I'm going to finish off with the razor now, just to add a little bit of movement, a bit of height, and just break up that thickness as well. So I'm going to wet the hair down a touch, so I can work with the razor. I'm going to use that just to break up that texture. So high heat, medium speed. And use a vent brush, because what the vent brush will do, will create thickness, the heat, and it'll create a wave as well, okay? How's that length looking for you, mate?
I've got no idea because I haven't got glasses on.
Oh, yeah. I'll show you.
Yeah, final reveal again.
Yeah, indeed, mate, indeed. Would you want to see product in it first, or do you want to see it as it is?
Let's have a look with it first.
Go and have a look. There we go. So I've tried it out.
Yeah, it's still got good length in there.
It has,
That's
yeah.
what I was thinking, yeah.
That's it. So it is, you've got the smartness to, there's still length in it, but it's smarter, you know what I mean?
You just kind of
But-
style it back to the side.
Exactly that.
I'm kind of interested to see how you're going to go ahead and style it at the end.
Yeah, of course, yeah, I'll show you now, yeah. So I'm going to use a cream. So we do, we're all the way through, and as you can see, a cream, it's rubs right into your hands, okay? So it's really easy to apply. So we do crown first, like that, through the sides, like that, through the sides, through the top, and wherever you got left, run through the back, okay? Now I'm going to add what I've got on the back of my hand now. I'm going to use this to actually style the hair out. So I've rubbed the product in, now I'm going to use this to really, really style it. So very much like Dev's, right? You've got that looseness through here with the curls. You've got that length at the back still sitting there, still neat, but you've got length sitting through the back. So you have that bit of a ruffled look. And then you just go and style the top however you like. If you want a bit of volume in there, you can. You want to create some more curls and wave, you can, some loose curls. It's pretty much up to you. That's probably as close to Dev's as you'll get with your hair type. Way thicker than his hair. You see, by just keeping it over the ears, you push that yourself. And that way you keep that length sitting through, so it's nice and tidy. Got a little bit of length at the back to balance everywhere. But then you're left with that nice little wave coming through the top. With that. Looks nice, doesn't it? Looks wicked. It's like that really like lived in look, but I think if you popped a suit on or, you know, something really smart, that'd look amazing. And I think it's about effort that you show that you're taking in your hair that makes it look smart. Not necessarily about clean around the ears, clean neckline, things like that. I think it's about the effort you've put into your hair that everyone will see and they go, oh God, that looks wicked. But I love it, mate. I think it looks awesome. I really do. I love the shape. The shape looks great. Because you've got such a different texture. You know what I mean? Than what you had when you came in. It's like two different heads of hair. It's incredible. So, we looked at a picture of Dev Patel. That was kind of the main focus, wasn't it, really, mate? So, it was like that kind of messy, kind of lived-in brush back kind of style. Now, obviously, taking into account different hair textures we're playing with here, but it was that kind of almost like lived-in kind of finish. But we also did have a look at another photo which was a bit cleaner around the ears. So we tried to balance the two. So Dev's was a lot more kind of messy into the beard, quite a messy beard as well. But I wanted to do something a bit cleaner, a bit more. He said you can use it like a professional in a sense as well. But still leaving a bit of length in there, adding a bit of volume in there as well and trying to work with that natural wave. Then I cut the neckline a bit tighter as well, just to have a bit, slightly bit cleaner. And then through the top, just horizontal sections to connect both sides. And then we used the razor to kind of add that little bit of extra texture in there. And then I started with a cream, which is like a low shine, medium hold product, which will give that kind of look of it's been styled, it's been, you know, someone's made an effort. It's going to bring out the wave and the curl, but it's water soluble. It's going to wash out quite easily, but it's going to hold it for you as well for as long as you need it. Awesome. And that's it really, man. Happy, yeah?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Sweet. Thank you very much, man.